They'll say we limped into the playoffs, that we've lost our edge, the momentum's not on our side. Let them talk, because this is where everything resets, where doubts burn away and legacies are written shift by shift. The past few weeks, they're over. The lights are brighter now, the hits are harder, the stakes higher than ever. And this team, we've been built for this moment. Veterans who've carried the weight, youth who refuse to back down, a goaltender who turns chaos into calm. Every scar from the season, it forged something stronger. We don't need perfection, we need belief. So raise your voice, wear the victory green, and stand with the ones who never stop battling. Because this isn't the end of the story. It's the moment we rise from the ashes.
Darkness falls, can't keep me down. Lightning strikes, won't wear my crown. Shadows fade, push them away. Got this fire, I'll light the way. Climb these walls, break through the chains. Nowhere left for doubt remains. Heartbeats thunder in the night. Roaring loud, I'll win this fight. We'll rise from the ashes, burning bright through the clashes. Fly higher than the skies. No one can take our light. Echoes of a broken dream. Rebirth in a glowing beam. Pain and fear will melt away. Nothing left but strength to stay. We'll rise from the ashes, burning bright through the clashes. Fly higher than the skies. No one can take our lives. Echoes of a broken dream. Rebirth in a glowing beam. Pain and fear will melt away. Nothing left but strength to stay. We'll rise from the ashes, burning bright through the clashes. Fly higher.
You're letting it. Oh, loose puck. Star. The Dallas Stars. Brett Hall. They won the Stanley Cup. Deep in the heart of Texas, the Stars are trying.
Stand up tall, we're undefeated. Victory's our only secret.
Hey guys, welcome back to Starcast Circle Marks alongside Chris and James. My name is Ryan Chambers. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Thank you to our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, their Pick 6 option. The next time you go and use their services, we ask you to use that promo code THPN. That will help us let them know that we're the ones that sent you there. There's a lot of questions tonight, guys. And on most nights, I probably wouldn't have played that video that we just did. And if you are listening on the audio side, I encourage you to go and watch the beginning or watch the playoff hype video. The Stars need a lot of hope right now. And it's not even just playing well at this point. I think just a lot of Stars fans need hope right now. And the Stars lose here tonight. Final score of 5-1 to the Nashville Predators in the Predators' final game of the regular season. And we are now set up for a first-round matchup with Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, and the Colorado Avalanche. And we're going to break down this game. We're going to break down the series, and we're going to break down how this game in particular can affect that series, because there are some things here tonight that happened. First off, how are you guys feeling? What's your thoughts? What's going on?
Yeah, not a great game, obviously. I mean, you hype up that you're going to bring your whole lineup back, and you bring Seguin back, and then you play just the same way you were playing in the previous 6 games, honestly. So it really wasn't anything different. It was a continuation of what happened, and you're in the same place you were before last game. It's like you're hoping you can flip a switch come playoff time, and we're still hoping for that. But they were hyping it up like that was going to happen tonight, but it absolutely did not, obviously.
Yeah, it's a really quite ugly game, honestly. Obviously started fantastic. They scored 16 seconds in, which is great news for the Seguin line and him being back. But outside of that, there's not really much positives you could pull from the game. It's also hard when you're talking about you're playing a team like the Predators who like to play hard. Even with how bad their team is, they are a tough, hard-hitting team. And when you're trying to go in the playoffs and you've been focusing on health for weeks, I can see how it'd be hard to fight a team that's not going to be in the playoffs, who you're not going to play at all, for literally nothing but cosmetics on standings.
The Stars have pretty much lost only 2 non-playoff teams down the stretch. I think Minnesota is the only playoff team of record that I can remember off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm forgetting one game off the top of my head here, but again, 7 games to end the season without a win is very tough. And not only had they not lost 3 in a row in regulation, but obviously they had not even done 4 under the Pete DeBoer era. And this brings in a whole lot. Yep. That this brings into a whole lot of questions going into the first round. But I will take the biggest storyline first. I think we need to talk about is the fact that Tyler Seguin does come into the lineup here tonight, so that's a positive thing for him. Yeah, y'all kind of briefly mentioned it. He gets the goal early on, and that got me really excited and got me really hyped for the rest of the game.
Well, his line gets the goal, but yes, point taken. They look very good, and that was the best line all night, which was the only bright side of this game.
Yeah, it's crazy how they're able to come back and do this, even though I'm sure all 3 of us at some point have said they're just going to be able to click back together instantly. And literally exactly first shift didn't even take any time at all, clicked right back together, and there's one in the back of the net. And it wasn't like that was a one-off occurrence on the night either. There were several other chances, huge chances. That's something where you can say Saros was kind of spectacular tonight too.
Yeah, and Seguin was able to take a couple of good hits. He still played perfectly fine. I mean, he obviously doesn't have speed, but he didn't have speed before this last hip surgery. So that's not really a surprise. And he plays a good amount of time tonight. I think he finished with, 14:48. So for being gone for over half the season, you'll take that all day long. So it looks like Tyler Seguin is ready to go and is going to be ready for playoff hockey.
And the one big one that was scary was when he was on a semi breakaway, kind of. He's fighting for position with someone. It kind of gets forked away. He doesn't get a great chance on it, but he gets spun around and he slams into the boards too. And it's
literally hip right into the boards too.
Hip right into the board. Literally the worst spot he could have gotten hit. He checked it, but he didn't have any problem. I mean, he skated right back.
You could see it too. He flexed his leg a little bit. And was like, "Is everything good?" And he was like, okay, "Yeah, we're cool."
The other thing we got to talk about is with one guy coming in, one guy exits the game here tonight. At first, I was just hoping it was just going to be just precaution and that this game legitimately doesn't matter. But Pete DeBoer was asked about it in post game. He gave no update for Jason Robertson, but he did say that he was just frustrated with all the injuries that we've had this year, just key guys at key times. And Leah Asimakopoulos of the Dallas Morning News, who covers SMU and the Stars, said, she kind of took that as, that this is not nothing. So I'm still hoping it's nothing, but just like a majority of the Stars play, we just have to hope that Jason Robertson's going to be okay for Saturday.
The one
good
good
healthy
thing
forward group for one period.
Yeah. The one good thing is that he did skate off by himself. He didn't have to have too much help getting off. So, whereas even if he is hurt, maybe it's something he can play through.
Right. His speed isn't really a high point for Robo. He's a little slower. We can handle that, I think.
And just the only thing I would say, though, is that he was not putting any weight at all on, I think it was his right leg. Like, all of his weight was on his left leg only, which, again, very frustrating. And we just can't seem to have a healthy lineup. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, well, we should be happy with this or anything. But look at the Minnesota Wild, for example. I mean, at one point this season, they were second in the Central Division, and they have been hampered by ridiculous amounts of injuries, as have the Stars. And yet, again, it's not great to look at it this way, because a lot of people don't want to look at it this way. But it's the fact that the Stars are still top 5 in the NHL, despite missing their best defenseman for a good chunk of the time, a top 6 forward in Seguin, a leader in Seguin. That seems kind of silly to say as a fan right now, because all you want to talk about is how bad they've been. But at the same time, they've faced adversity. And I mean, we've talked about for a long time that it's hard to flip a switch going into the playoffs. Well, now it's not whether they can do it, it's they have to do it. That's where we're at with this Stars team right now going into the playoffs. So, thoughts on that storyline?
Well, first, the super chat from Ryan Gardner. Thank you. 991. He said, if we lose badly in this series, we need to address leadership. Pete DeBoer, staff, captain, assistant captain, not being ready is inexcusable, but we shall see. Let's go Stars. Potentially. We'll see. But you're right. It just 100% depends on what happens when the playoffs start. I mean, if they get bounced real quick, there's going to be at least some question marks. But we have to see what happens.
Yeah, and the one thing that is a little nice is that this team has been to the playoffs a lot the past couple of years. If there's a team that really can go this cold into the playoffs and just turn it on, I feel like the Stars team should be able to do that, just with how much experience they have.
Right, and we've seen the Stars try to ramp up into the playoffs 2 years in a row. And, I mean, both of the last 2 years, they've been on heaters to end the regular season, and they ran out of gas in the conference finals both times. So, hey, why not try something else? Let's rest up a little bit. Let's lose a bunch, and then maybe we'll have more gas to finish out.
I think Robert Tiffin was joking about it on Twitter. He's just like, I just want to commend the Stars for lulling the Avalanche into a false sense of security. And I'm like, that. I mean, that is a optimistic. I don't even want to say positive way of thinking about it, but I hope so. And that's where we're at with it right now.
Really, with this game, I mean, I think the plan in it changed when Robertson went down. I think Robertson got hurt, and the idea of even trying to come back and win this game was just thrown out the window. I mostly say that due to the time on ice that is kind of crazy, especially among the defensemen. Brendan Smith got 15 and a half minutes.
Yep.
And in a game where you're trailing and you're really trying to make it a statement win, you're going to play Harley during those minutes instead of Brendan Smith. So whereas this game is terrible, it stinks. There's not really anything good to say about it other than the second line. There was a point where you could tell the team truly stopped and they were not trying to come back.
Right. And they looked great in the first period, and it was just 2 deflection goals that went in on Otter. So I thought the first period was honestly fine. And yeah, I think the second period they started bad, and then Robo went down, and then they were like, yeah, we're going to ice it. Because if Brendan Smith was in a playoff game, no offense to Brendan Smith, he'd be being held to like 5 minutes time on ice. So that is not trying to win kind of deployment. I'd agree with that, James.
Yeah. That actually is kind of crazy to think that Brendan Smith got 15 and a half minutes here tonight, because that's not quite second pairing minutes, but it's on the lower end of second pairing minutes. I'm not even looking at it. How much did Harley get?
22 and a half.
So he's still got a decent amount.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing I want to talk about here today is Oettinger, because you can't not help but be worried about going into the playoffs against a way better team than any of the teams that we faced in the last couple of weeks. And the fact that he's, back-to-back games that we've given up that many goals and he's been in net for us. Now, I'm not saying that they're his fault at all or anything like that, but just the amount of goals that this team has given up. I think it was Mike Heika on Twitter I think he said 34 goals in the last 7 games. I mean, that's literally about 5 goals a game. That is 1 goal shy of giving up 5 goals a game. You're not going to win very many games in the regular season or even in the playoffs, giving up that many goals.
Yeah, I agree. That can't happen. That's going to have to be part of the switch flip if they want to do that.
And I really think some of that does, or I honestly think a lot of it comes down to playing games that truly did not matter. I mean, once we lost to Winnipeg for the second time, there was no point in the rest of the regular season games. You had a chance of catching Winnipeg a bit, but they had to lose all their games at that point. And then you had the Avs who were kind of climbing on you, but you still had a sizable lead, and you were likely going to hold on to that spot.
Well, that's the other thing. It's not like the Avs are coming into this playoff series on a heater either. They lost 6 of their last 10. So, I mean, obviously the Stars is worse. 7-game losing streak is much worse than 6 of the last 10. But
they went 500 over the last 14 games.
Exactly. So you think about it that way, honestly, it's pretty even.
And that was something that Razor was talking about too. He didn't just mention Colorado. He mentioned Florida. He mentioned Carolina.
For some reason.
It's, and this is a topic for another day. It's almost like they need to shorten the season, and they're talking about extending it. Anyways, I mean, specifically with Otter, I kind of derailed that conversation a little bit, but are you worried about Otter going into the playoffs?
I mean, yes, he should be. He's been fine the last 2 playoff runs. But especially if the team's like this and without Miro and hemorrhaging goals, you're going to have to get a little bit more help. So maybe going into this series knowing that, hey, we're playing way worse than the other team looks right now, maybe that helps them tap into the Flames series. Because if you remember going into that, it was like Stars basically have no chance in this series, but at least we're in the playoffs, and we were happy for that. And then Otter went and did that and almost drug us to the next round. So maybe he can access some of that. But yeah, right now he also has to find a flip to switch.
I think that Otter does tend to show up for big games too. I mean, sometimes I feel like a lot of this game was the other goaltender playing really well, and it made him look. He did, which it made him look even worse than it really was. I mean, it's also some weird tips that really got him, and not tying up in front of the net, which I think comes down to just the Predators playing a lot harder. And if you're not playing, if the Stars aren't playing harder in the playoffs, then they weren't gonna win anyway. I mean, they weren't going anywhere. So regardless of how this game kind of looks, it means I don't put too much stock into it. At least I feel like the team as a whole knows that this game was never going to mean anything. Otter knows that too. He knows the last 2 games. I know they're all professional sports players and they take pride in their game. And obviously it stinks to go into the playoffs like this, but it's gone now. And like they already knew going into it, the games didn't matter.
Right. And to make this an actual season preview, I think we need to, let's imagine the flip is switched and the Dallas Stars are playing like the Dallas Stars. I think that's how we should go forward with the rest of this preview. Because if the Dallas Stars are playing like this, obviously they get swept, right? Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt.
yeah,
so
pretty easily.
If we want to give this a realistic season preview, you imagine the Stars are just saving up for playoff hockey, and that's the case. So keeping that in mind, Otter is going to be way better than either Colorado goalie that plays. Like, they have Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood, who definitely both are playing way better than they have recently, but they don't hold a candle to Jake Oettinger. The reason they've been so lauded recently is because they've just been playing better than they generally do.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't have anything to add to that. James, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
So I guess, do you want to do biggest winner and biggest loser, or just go straight into the preview?
The biggest winner is Tyler Seguin. Yeah.
Okay, biggest winner, Tyler Seguin.
And the biggest loser is Jason Robertson for getting hurt.
Unanimous
decision? There's one other thing that I wanted to talk about. It was the power play. What did y'all think about the 5 forward unit?
It's stupid. I gotta stop.
I thought it was stupid. The only thing I could keep thinking, because I had so many chances. They had 6 power play chances and didn't score 1. And every single time they rolled out the 5. Yeah. And every single time they rolled out the 5 forward unit to start.
Yeah.
Which is baffling to me. And the only thing I could think is you want to keep Thomas Harley's ice time down. That's the only reason I can figure out.
I'd rather see Dumba twice than see that in the playoffs, to be honest, because that was horrible.
Agreed. I 100% agree with that.
There's a better biggest loser, power play.
Yeah, I was about to say that was going to be my biggest loser tonight, was the power play, because it was just that bad. So, okay, let's get into the first round preview here. I've got a lot of stuff.
And remember, this is going to be the Stars play better than they are right now, because if we just talk about how the Stars are playing right now, it's a sweep and it's a boring preview. So we're imagining the Stars are going to be playing good. All right, continue.
I still think we do need to keep some of that stuff in mind, though, as well as we go forward too. Okay, but you are correct. You are correct. There are several storylines going into the series against the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, there's obviously the biggest one that everyone's going to be talking about is, no one would have seen this coming with Rantanen being on the Stars and playing against his former team less than 4 months after he got traded. So that's going to be the biggest thing. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of stars on the other side for Colorado, former stars, Kiviranta, Nichushkin, obviously Wedgwood. That's going to be kind of sad tier a little bit with Wedgwood being over there. But I want to start with obviously with Rantanen, because facing off against his old squad, can he actually be that dominating player that we need him to be? And maybe that's emotionally and statistically in favor of Dallas. Can he do that in this series?
Yeah, I think he can. He's shown he's a playoff player. He's built like a playoff player. He's going to have to be for the Stars, and that's the reason that you signed him to an 8-year, $12 million contract, is because he could perform in the playoffs, and he's proven that. So I fully expect that he's going to step up and have a bigger role, whatever line he's on, and even if he's double shifted, which I think is an interesting idea to do with that fourth line, especially seeing Dodonov and Steele down there. I mean, Dodonov, Steele, and a double shifting Rantanen, that would be insanity when you're trying to chase from behind. So I definitely think he's going to make a huge impact, and you're going to see playoff Rantanen and understand why he's the Moose.
Would it be better to... Okay, let's put the Robertson injury into effect here. If he's healthy, do they put Rantanen back up there on the top line?
I hope so. Honestly, I thought it's been kind of silly that he's not on the top line, because we've seen it work so well before. and it felt like they were just starting to heat up, and then the team as a whole started playing bad, and then it got switched because of that. And I feel like that's the wrong reason to do that. And with Seguin coming back as well, now Granlund is just floating around in nowhere. It makes sense to put Dodonov or Granlund with Ben and Johnson more than it makes sense for either of those two to be with Hintz and Robo, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Well, what about a top line? And I know that he doesn't want to do this, but what if we go nuclear and we do Wyatt Johnston, Rantanen, and Hintz all on the top line? And I know that throws in the third center into question a little bit as to who that is. It's probably Steele, if you ask me, if I'm being honest. But then that also moves Granlund down to the third line. And, I mean, Steele, Granlund could still be a good third option for you.
Johnson hasn't played wing very well, and Rope hasn't played wing in over 3 years. So I think that would be – it's worth to try. I mean, if you're trying to just scramble lines, I agree. That's definitely something you can attempt. But I think that'd be a weird thing to try to rely on.
That's probably more of a you can't find a way to score type of thing that happens. But
right. Nuclear.
That line has been successful at just scoring quick goals before too.
Okay. I mean, we're going to have to rely upon Rantanen a whole lot, especially if Robo is going to be out. Again, not trying to be super negative here or anything like that, but over the last 7 games that we just have not seen the domination factor that we were hoping to see from Rantanen. I don't think we've seen that, but the good thing.
So if anyone's playing like they did the last 7 games, they're just going to lose.
That's exactly where I was going to go, is that the fact that nobody has looked like that. The other thing is it seems like Mikko Rantanen, just like some other really, big playoff bound performers, that's just where they really step it up in the playoffs. And maybe that's something that he can do for the Stars here against his former club.
Mikko Rantanen is top 10 ever in playoff points per game right now.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
He 100%, and I think he's over a quarter point per game better in the playoffs than he is during the regular season. So yep. I really believe there's going to be a ramp up here for Rantanen.
All right. Obviously, I want to also mention the impact that the Stars are going to have of Miro Heiskanen and Tyler Seguin in this series. We have confirmed that Miro Heiskanen will not be playing Game 1 on Saturday, but
we haven't. It's been confirmed.
Not. You know what I mean. But will the return of both of those players be too little, too late to kind of turn the tide of how the season has ended, and them being able to get up to game speed? Is it too little, too late?
Well, Tyler Seguin, obviously not. I mean, he stepped in and it looked like he's right back at home on that line, which looks absolutely fantastic. And that's going to be massive, I think, for this team, especially for Duchesne, who really wants to get back at a bad series other than the series clinching goal.
Yeah, I feel like that the Seguin-Duchesne line, Seguin-Duchesne Marchment is likely to be your expected first line, honestly. With how quickly they just snap back into place like that. And you look at how they started the season too, there's a really high possibility, especially if Robertson is hurt. This is absolutely true at this point, that the Seguin line is the top line.
Right. When Seguin went down, they were the best line in hockey, unequivocally.
Points per game, they're still really up there.
Yeah, they're still up there. And then for Miro, I think this is something where the longer this series goes, the better odds the Stars get. Because I think Miro is going to show up at some point in this series. We don't know exactly when it's going to be, but if he's skating, I think it'd be hard to keep Miro off the ice, honestly, before the season ends. He's going to want to get back in there if he has any chance. And if that's the case, if this goes 6 or 7 and he has a couple of games to get into game shape, that's going to give the Stars a big boost on the defensive side. So if the Stars lose, I think it's going to be in 4 or 5. If it goes 6 or 7, I think the Stars have a much better chance of winning the series.
I tend to agree with you there. And even if we lose game one, I wouldn't be worried about losing game one. To be
Let's not
completely honest
talk
with
about
you.
game one, dude.
We're supposed to lose game one.
The Stars have not won a game one since the 2020 Stanley Cup Finals. They won that first game against
and
the
they
Lightning.
lost that series.
And they lost that
crazy
series in
thing.
6. So maybe you want to
That's
lose
crazy.
game one because we have a better win percentage when we lose game one than when we win it as of the past 8 series. So
I don't know, man. That's absolutely crazy.
If there's ever a time where you truly would want to win game one, though, it's when you have Miro out of the lineup. So
100%.
Truly, all jokes aside, I feel like game one is really integral this time. Most of the time, I would say, okay, whatever, throw it out the window. But I don't know.
And we kind of mentioned it a little bit in our after game review, but Jake Oettinger is going to be a huge key to that because he's going to get peppered and he's going to have to be fantastic. And the Stars are going to have to score goals. I mean, 5-4 games, I think, are going to be the norm if Miro's not in the lineup. And that's the only chance the Stars have at winning, I think, is that, yeah, we have a lot of lines that can score. They're all going to have to score to be able to keep up.
And when you look at the goaltending, when you look matchup to matchup, like offense and defense and goaltending, obviously the 3 main categories of the team, the Stars, looking at the stats and just looking at past experience, they've got a huge advantage in that aspect. That is absolutely their biggest advantage. And that is a huge advantage to have, especially when you're not going into the first round series all that super confident in your team. Because, I mean, no offense to Mackenzie Blackwood. He was good to finish the regular season, and he was a whole heck of a lot better than what they used to have. But, you put him against Oettinger, I would much rather have Oettinger in a 7-game series.
And that's where Otter can't do what he's done the past 2 years in the playoffs. He can't just be okay. He can't just be good enough. He has to be the reason the Stars are winning games in this series, especially when you don't have Miro in the lineup. So he has to be a difference maker in this series, not just a passenger.
Agreed. He's gonna have to. He's gonna have to stand on his head and levitate all at the same time in order to help this team get some wins against this really good Colorado team.
And then the Avs goaltending, I think it's kind of wild how much hype they're kind of getting, in my opinion. People are saying like, oh, they got 2 good goalies to choose from. It's like they have 2 fine goalies to choose from, I guess. Everyone is so high on these 2 goalies, though, because they're beating their own numbers. They don't have top 10 or top 15 goalie numbers in the NHL. So the fact that you can play either of those guys and feel okay about it, I think it's more of a downside for the Avalanche than an upside, which is the way it's being spun in most of the media I've been seeing lately.
I will say that both their goaltenders actually are having really, really good seasons, and they are quite high up on the rankings. But this is not the normal for either of these goaltenders either. Exactly. So it's really going to come down to what their postseason looks like, and I don't know how seasoned they are in that.
Not.
And I mean, I've even seen some things where they're talking about could Wedgwood actually be the starter for game one? And I'm like,
they legitimately could.
I mean, don't get me wrong about Wedgwood. Like, if I didn't have a choice and Oettinger was hurt, of course Wedgwood would. I mean, he's okay. He's a perfectly good backup goalie who could be a number 1 in a pinch. Like, he's a very good goaltender. Is he going to win you a Stanley Cup? That's where I would probably answer no. Oettinger can be that guy.
Are either of them. And I see the comments are saying Blackwood's good. I agree. Blackwood is good. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, to say that he's a Stanley Cup winning goalie, I mean, they did it with Georgiev, so maybe. But I don't know.
We're still taking
it wasn't Georgiev.
Oh, no. Who was it?
It was Darcy Kemper.
I knew who you were
even worse.
Yes. Yeah. It was Kemper, who is now with the LA Kings. So, yeah.
He's had a good season, actually.
Yes, yeah. And that, by the way, that trade has worked out really well for both PLD and anyways. If we have time to talk about them before the playoffs start, we will. But the other thing I wanted to kind of talk about was, there's a lot of people who are already coming out and are saying that Pete DeBoer is on the hot seat. If the Stars go down early in the series, or if they get swept, or even if it goes 5 or 6 games and they look really bad, is he on the hot seat to lose his job?
Well, that's not really a series preview question, but no, not really.
I think it is. I think it is.
Okay, what impact does it have on the series?
Well, it could impact how the Stars view the series if he's lost control of the team.
Either way, it's really important. So if the Stars play this bad going into the playoffs, he might be on the hot seat in our eyes. I think he should be on the hot seat. But as far as Jim Nill's concerned, he's probably not.
He'd have to bow out extremely quickly in the first round and then have a terrible start to next season too. I mean, right. he's at least getting the benefit of like 20 games into the regular season next year. He's had a fantastic team for many years now. This 7-game skid is his worst time on the Stars as head coach, and his team was already in the playoffs when it started.
And during that stretch, nothing happened in terms of standings.
They didn't change standing places at all. They lost 7 games and stayed second in the Central.
Right. Now they could go and say, I don't know, that they had a chance to get first place and they lost their opportunity to get over Winnipeg. But at the same time, it just is what it is.
Yeah, and I think
another
that's
update
fair
for y'all for Robo. He left the building in a brace, according to the Preds beat writer. So,
yep, that is not good.
Just to let you know.
I saw that too.
And on the topic of being able to get over the Jets this year, I mean, we've won the division before, and it's just as hard winning the division going through the playoffs as it is getting second, honestly. You're going to have to beat a really good team. The team that they would have had to go up against would have been the Blues, who just had like one of the hottest ends to the season ever. And if somehow the Blues didn't, then you're playing Minnesota, who you've faced before. They hit like crazy. They try to injure people, and all their good players came back. So there's no easy teams in the playoffs. I feel like this team has learned that now.
And that's one thing I do want to get to. And then I've got another question, and then we can move on to actually like comparing. We've done a little bit with goaltending, but we can start looking at offense and defense too. The biggest thing that I think we need to take away from this, and I think we probably better understand it now more than ever, is that everything resets at this point. Like it did great. Winnipeg had 116 points. Guess what? That don't mean jack crap anymore, right? Yeah, you got your home ice advantage, but you have to now play against a really good team down the stretch. Are they playing St. Louis? They are playing St. Louis, right?
Yes.
Yep. I mean, I wouldn't want to play the Blues right now. The thing is that you're gonna play a good team no matter what in the playoffs, especially on the Western side. That's just the way that you have to look at it, and it is what it is. And you probably want to have an easier matchup like up against Minnesota, but even Minnesota would not be an easy out. I just don't. There's so much parity in the league now that it doesn't matter who you play. It's going to be a tough series in the first round. That's just my personal opinion at this point where the NHL is right now. No thoughts on that?
Nope.
Let's talk about Colorado. We already know who we're playing.
Okay. Will momentum play a huge factor in the playoffs here?
Well, both teams are going in bad.
Yeah,
so.
Neither team has momentum, so no.
So the thing that the Stars have been struggling with, and this is throughout the year, is they have consistently given up goals after scoring a goal, and that absolutely kills momentum. Is that something that you think that they can minimize here in the playoffs?
I feel like they had minimized it going down the stretch here, especially during that winning streak. They were doing decently well after scoring. Sometimes you would see them get multiple in a row, and sometimes you have weird games like tonight where they give up one and then 50 seconds later they give up another. I feel like it's just a kind of a weird trait of this team, and I feel like it goes both ways.
The more important thing is that the Stars have given up a ton of third period leads late in the season here. And during the series against the Avalanche last year, they charged back every single time they were down, and it didn't matter. The only game that they didn't was the game when they lost Nichushkin. So that's what they should be more worried about than giving up goals right after they score. It should be closing out games, which they have sucked at recently.
Maybe the real question we need to be asking is Nichushkin actually going to be able to last the entire series this year? Because I mean, let's be honest, that was a huge change in momentum for Colorado in the negative. So obviously, I don't see that happening this year at all. But I mean, Nichushkin, and we can kind of go into the forwards now for Colorado here. He plays a huge part of this Colorado team.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing that's really going to be tough for this Colorado team is that they don't have Mikko Rantanen. I feel like that's a massive hole it's going to be the biggest question for them going into the playoffs. Can Marty Necas, who is not like atrocious in the playoffs, be as good as Mikko Rantanen was to fill that hole? Signs point to no right now. Who knows? Playing with MacKinnon can do wonders for you. But I feel like it's more going to be a lot more questions from Colorado. I mean, even at the end of the season, Mikko Rantanen is third on their team in points.
That's it is what it is. Yeah.
And that's really what it's going to be. Like, yes, Colorado has strengthened their depth as they've totally flipped their team in the middle of the season, which was a good job. They rebuilt Rantanen in the aggregate with Necas and Nelson. That's kind of who you're saying is replacing him and adding a little bit more depth. But really, this Avs team is pretty much the same still. It's Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar. You have to stop them in some way or at least outscore them. And that's what it's going to be.
Really, the nice thing is that they have one less very dangerous weapon in Mikko.
Right.
And that's true. Now, I would argue that their depth has probably gotten a lot better.
It is definitely a lot better, but when you compare it to the Stars, it is still way
not
worse.
The same. Yes.
It maybe could pull even if they had a full season of that team.
Even then, I would say no. You have Drury, O'Connor, Kibbe, Ronta as your fourth line compared to Dodonov, Steele, and Bork. I mean, I don't think that's a comparison.
Well, Kibbe's been very good this year too, honestly.
He's almost a 20 goal scorer. I think he's about 17, 18?
No, right, and how many goals has Dodonov scored?
16. 20, there you go. That's true. 20. Okay, so so that's a good point. My point is that they have completely overhauled their forwards, like you said, Chris, but the nice thing is for them, and the way they will look at it, is they have gotten a lot deeper, especially down the center. I mean, you got MacKinnon now, you've got Brock Nelson from the Islanders, you got Charlie Coyle from Boston, and then not to mention you also got Jack Drury from Carolina and the Mikko Rantanen trade. So, but the negative side of it, and what we should talk about, is are they going to have that same chemistry that, again, we're thinking positive about the Stars right now and how they should be playing. Are they going to have the same chemistry that the Stars have? Because for the most part, the Stars have had the same forward group the entire season. Obviously the only addition was Mikko Rantanen, and the only subtraction was Logan Stankoven. And compared to Colorado, they have been in and out with all sorts of players. So I think that's gonna be one of the biggest questions on the forward side is will Colorado be able to adjust on the fly and the chemistry kind of just click in the playoffs, or is that going to hurt them and the Stars are going to be able to take advantage of that?
Well, they've definitely had time to click here, but before the very end of the season, Colorado was still playing very well to secure that third overall spot. And also, I think having a whole bunch, I think, what is it, like 8 new players since the start of the season for Colorado? Like having that many new people, that kind of meshes together on its own. Like you think about Olympic teams where nobody's teammates until all of a sudden you are for a short period of time. They get super close just in a couple weeks. I mean, similar kind of thing can happen for a Colorado team when you have that many people that are newcomers. Like the newcomers is just a new clique now. So you just already have a friend group there. You got the old friend group of the old guard. I just don't see it as big of an issue, especially since they went all in on it.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that can definitely help when you have as many out and in as you have. They basically rebuilt the team mid-season. I mean, we've said it multiple times. The biggest thing is going to come down to who actually shows up during the playoffs, and I feel like that can be a time where your bonds as a team, if you want to say it that way, can really get tested.
And that's fair. That's absolutely a fair there. I think I'm starting to lean more towards what you were saying, Chris, and that it's probably going to be like 5-4, 6-5 games at least, maybe early on. But I think later on in the series, especially if it goes 6-7, I think it's really going to start getting hammered down where we're going to start to see like 2-1, 3-2 kind of games. That's just my personal opinion. I think the defense for both teams will get better. So, okay. Anything else on the offensive side that you guys wanted to talk about? Because I have a couple questions to ask. But before I ask those, anything?
It's just that's another spot where the Stars need to win. They need to have their top line get as close to MacKinnon's line as it can, and Makar, and their depth has to score. It has to. You have to beat the other team's depth by a considerable margin to beat the Avs in this series.
Especially when you're talking about centers too. I mean, the Avs did revamp their down the middle, but the Stars centers are still way better. I mean, you have Matt Duchene, Wyatt
outside
Johnson,
of
Rope, obviously, yes, sorry, outside MacKinnon, but those are literally our number 1, number 3, and number 4 point scorers on the team. is our top 3 centers. So that is definitely a situation which you have to win. You cannot lose that battle.
So, and this is something that I kind of wanted to mention because we've discussed it in the offseason. We've discussed it throughout the regular season as well. Is Dallas too balanced to rely upon one star to carry them? Or are we going to see tonight it's Rope Hintz night and the next night it's Wyatt Johnston night and then Miro Rantanen night? Is that going to be rely upon? Like, obviously, MacKinnon's going to be the one who and Makar, I should say that too. The two of them will, if they win the series, those guys will get like 14 points in the series. Will the Stars' balance approach actually work the way it's intended to?
Yeah, that's the question. That is the $1 million question. That's what we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I feel like in the past with this Stars team, we've seen individual players step up for different series. I mean, you think Rope in the Minnesota series way back when, and then you had like, I think Seguin went hard in the second round that year too. So you have different players have really good series against specific teams. And when you know one player's playing really well against a team has really kind of solved the goaltender, at least for them. I feel like if you can feed into that at all, that's just what you got to dump everything into. Everyone else should be doing what they have already been doing for the rest of the season, which is just find different ways to score goals here and there. But if one person is on fire, I hope to see that they get more ice time and are fed the puck more.
Right. And I think it's going to take more than just one guy too, honestly. Like if one guy is on fire, that's definitely going to help. But that in my mind is the matching what MacKinnon and McCarr are doing. It's going to take others as well. So even if, let's say, Johnston is the line that's on fire, then now all of a sudden Robo is part of your depth group that needs to beat the other team's depth group. So it's going to take multiple. The Stars' top player, whoever it is not going to play better than MacKinnon and McCarr.
They have more darts to throw at the dartboard.
Right, but
they're giving themselves more chances than Colorado has, which is exactly that's what Colorado tried to do at the deadline. They tried to go out and get more darts, right? And
they got a bunch of crappy darts, but their two big darts are really big. They just hit the whole board.
Yeah.
Yes. And I kind of laughed at you, Chris, when you mentioned McCarr because we were talking about forwards, but you kind of have to include him in the forward conversation.
When he's your second highest point scorer, he's on your first line, sure.
Didn't he get 30 goals this year?
30 goals too.
That is
the only other player on that team.
Defense. So especially without Heiskanen, the Colorado defense craps on the Stars defense.
Oh yeah.
I even think with Miro in the lineup, I think that is a strength. Yes, I think that is like even if you took McCarr out, which that would be a huge loss for Colorado, it's still a really solid D-core that Colorado has. It's very, very good. You still got Devon Taves, you still got Sam Girard. They went out and got Ryan Lindgren as a third pairing guy. I mean, Ryan Lindgren in Dallas would probably be on the second pairing here, honestly. If
right now he might be Ilya Lyubushkin.
That's true. That is also true. So this is going to be the tipping point for both teams, and it's mostly the focus is going to be on the Dallas D-core, right? And whether that's in the positive or whether it's in the negative, they're not going to be better than the Colorado D-core. They're just not. That's not going to happen, in my personal opinion. Even if they played out of their minds, like the Rangers pitching did during the World Series run, like even if they did something that fantastic, it still would not beat Colorado's D-core. The question is going to be, are they going to be able to figure it the heck out? Because go ahead.
It's can they survive and can Otter help them survive? That's really what it's going to be. And it's going to be Harley and Essa are going to be playing 28 minutes a night, probably.
If not more. Until
Miro comes back, if not more. Agreed. And Otter's going to have to make some amazing saves. So that's what you're hoping overcomes it.
And that idea that they're going to play 28 or more minutes a game is why they rested them the previous two games.
That's correct. And that's why they didn't dump minutes into them tonight.
Okay, so let's take this a little deeper and let's talk specifically about Thomas Harley, okay? 3 years ago, he was on the third pairing, and we were just excited to see him here, and he was a perfect third pairing guy. Going into this series, he is the number one defenseman. How big is he going to be, and can he, even just for one game, let's just assume that Miro comes back in game 2, which we don't know that happens. Can Harley be... Yes. Can Harley actually be that guy on the back end, this early in his career as a number one defenseman?
He can. He showed it this season, and he's done really well at it, especially on the power play, which is something I'm sure we'll get to later. That'll be a big sticking point for the Stars. But he's proven that he can play those huge minutes. He's proven he can step up in big time games, especially with the Four Nations this year. That's something to really think about. He stepped up as an emergency defenseman and then played more than, he wasn't the lowest time on ice, which is crazy for a guy that just jumped in the morning of, or didn't even jump in the morning of. He didn't get to skate. He had to stand in the hallway. So he's shown he can do stuff on big time stages, but to be able to drag this D-core to try and keep up with what Colorado's defense is going to do, he's going to have to take even another step. So that's a big ask, but that's what he's going to have to do.
Can Esa Lindell maybe ease some of that pressure on Thomas Harley as well? Because both of those guys have gotten a lot of rest this week, which is a huge bonus for the Dallas Stars. They did not play in the third to last game and the second to last game, and then they did not play near as much as they have in the previous 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, however long Miro's been out for. that honestly, out of anything that we can take a positive out of for this whole 7-game losing streak going down the stretch, is that those two guys got a whole lot of rest in this last week, because boy, are we gonna have to rely upon both of them.
Yep. Before we hit special teams, we should talk about Gabriel Landeskog, because it looks like he's going to be playing for the Colorado Avalanche. He played 2 warm-up games with the Colorado Eagles, the AHL team. And he actually played in the second night of a back-to-back and played almost 20 minutes in the second game of the second night of a back-to-back. Scored a goal and an assist. I mean, he might not be 100% Gabriel Landeskog of 3 years ago, but the fact that he's able to do that means that he is going to be a legitimate player. It's like, it's not going to be a nobody out there. He's going to know what's going on. He's going to be able to help produce. And for how big of a lift Seguin is to this squad, it's going to be even bigger to have Gabriel Landeskog for them, I think.
Well, what do you think about? I know it's silly to kind of phrase it this way, but who do you think will be better? Do you think Seguin will be better, or do you think Landeskog will be better? And in the battle of returning to the lineup.
And I think if you're a betting man, you're going to say Seguin's going to be better, especially after seeing what he just did tonight. I mean, he stepped into an NHL game and looked right back at home. So AHL and NHL is a big difference, but I would not be surprised if Landeskog is a lot better than we think he's going to be. And I see a lot of Avs fans kind of downplaying it, and I get it. They don't really want to be hurt by expecting Gabriel Landeskog and getting what they're going to get, which is going to be a little bit less, but he's going to be a solid player. And if he's playing on their third line, that's a huge improvement to their third line wing.
That's what I was going to actually mention, is that, projected right now, he's projected to be on the wing on that third line with Charlie Coyle. And that, I mean, again, we talk about how ridiculous it is that we have Wyatt Johnston as our third line center. Well, Gabriel Landeskog on the third line, that's pretty good. That's pretty solid depth there. And it will be very interesting to see, especially the emotional aspect of how that's going to affect the Colorado Avalanche.
Right.
And
that's what's so awesome about this series, is that both teams have one. Like the Avs get one and the Stars get one, which is wild.
No, that we're playing against the Avalanche, Chris, not the Wild.
A little weird that it feels that way. I feel like this is it's going to be crazy for Av fans no matter what. I mean, win or lose the series, you get to see Gabriel Landeskog come back.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that the story behind it is just awesome. He's the first NHL player to come back from that kind of injury, from how long it was. It's insane. I mean, super happy that he was able to come back.
He
just
hasn't
as a
played,
human story.
He hasn't played for 3 years. Not a single NHL game for 3 years.
The fact that you keep trying to come back for that long is crazy in its own. So
yeah,
I'm glad he's found a way to do it, because that's awesome.
It is very admirable. It really is. You got to love when guys really fight their way to get back. I mean, there's all sorts of stories like that. I can't believe I'm forgetting his
double hip surgery.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like we've seen like hockey players in the past, like Mario Lemieux, who went through chemo treatment, and then literally after his very last chemo treatment date, he went straight back into the NHL, and in that very first game scored a goal and 2 assists. Like stupid, insane stuff like that. And like even this year, Dakota Joshua, that's who I was of the Vancouver Canucks. He's messing with cancer this year, unfortunately, as well. He comes back and he's able to fight through that while going through all of these treatments and stuff. It's just insane. Hockey players are just ridiculous. So
super chat from Nate G, $2. Thank you. If Pete DeBoer starts Jason Garrett clapping, I'll lose it. Yes, I agree.
I don't think he'll ever do that. I really don't. At least I don't
think
do that.
PDB is a clapper, if I had to guess.
Nope, he's not. He's absolutely not. Okay. Let's discuss the special teams here a little bit, Chris, because it seemed like you really want to get to this. For me, I think the key is going to be the Stars power play, because it has been, I don't want to say anemic, but it has been very, it's been hot or cold, like really hot or really, really cold at throughout the regular season. Okay, I agree with you on the whole just get rid of the 5 forward look deal, and maybe that was just trying to save Harley some minutes here tonight. I don't know, but I hope they don't try that against Colorado. Do y'all agree with me in that aspect, or do you think it's even more important that the Stars PK is the best thing that comes from the special teams battle?
I think the PK is going to be more important just because of how killer Makar and MacKinnon are on it. But the Stars power play has to keep up with whatever Colorado power play does. The Stars PK isn't going to keep the Avs off the scoreboard the entire series. I mean, that's not going to happen. So your power play has to produce. It can't be doing what it's done the last 7 games, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the Stars PK has been very reliable all season long. And we've just had spurts where, I mean, like that one game where we were like 4 for 4. And 0 for 4, excuse me. That's what I meant. 0 for 4. And they just crapped. And again, it was a game that didn't matter and everything like that.
And that's without Esa
still,
Lindell.
it
So
worries.
that really doesn't count.
Yes.
Because the Stars PK is Esa Lindell.
And that's exactly why I mentioned Lindell when we were talking about the defense, because yes, Harley is going to be the number 1 guy. He's going to get the most minutes, but Esa Lindell is just as key, if not more key, because of how much he's relied upon for penalty killing. Because if we don't have him for penalty killing, we are absolutely trash, honestly. And we saw that in the one game where he didn't play. And there were like 4 goals against us in that aspect.
One other thing I kind of wanted to mention that's kind of outside any, I guess, segment, but the Stars or the Avs forecheck is always a big part of their game. And with the Stars defense being as tough as it's been, especially having the only puck mover is Thomas Harley now. I mean, what do you think the Stars are going to have to adjust to kind of break through that forecheck of the Avalanche? Like, is it forwards coming back more? Or is it just high flip it out of the zone over and over and over again? Or
I think the key is don't even be in your zone in the first place.
That's
true.
I mean, honestly, I was thinking about it at first. I was like, well, yeah, the forwards do need to get back and help, and that needs to be a key because that's gonna happen. But the Stars have got to get momentum going shift after shift, and I'm not trying to steal from the voiceover I did, but I was being dead serious when I meant that. Is like that has been something that the team has talked about, but Pete DeBoer has talked about, is if you get a really good shift out of your 4th line, you got to build off of that momentum, especially if you're having a really bad game or a really bad period. Because and especially now when everything means a little bit more, you have to be able to rely upon, switching that momentum on a whim as quickly as possible. Because, I mean, it's not like you've got 20, 30 games. I mean, we could have as little as 4 and our season could be done. So it is just ever so critical that the Stars play in the offensive zone more. And if you're able to do that, then you're able to minimize that impact defensively in your own defensive zone. And I think the best defense is a good offense. At least that's the way the Stars should be looking at it right now.
Especially right now. I mean, the series needs to be made a shootout if the Stars want to win it, because the defense is not going to help them out, and Otter's going to have to make huge saves. That's the Stars' recipe for success until Miro Heiskanen hopefully comes back at some point in this series.
Yeah, you got to minimize the turnovers and you got to hold on to the puck more. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Puck possession is going to be a big thing in this series. It's kind of how the Stars originally were playing, and it's kind of dropped off a cliff, obviously, in the last month or so. But
several months.
You got to get back to that puck possession game. I mean, if you have the puck, they can't shoot it on your own net.
MacKinnon can't shoot it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think is also like super critical, and this is something that I noticed Razor mention, and he mentioned it like 2 or 3 different times throughout the game. They've got to utilize the interior of the ice in their own zone. I don't know if you watch it a whole lot in their own zone, but he talked about passing their problems along, which is something that I have also talked about a whole lot. They've got to stop trying to just throw it up the boards, because at this point it's too predictable. And even the high flip, if they don't get everything on the high flip, It's just a little, I don't know what else you call it, but a low flip. And the opposing team has just been stopping it right at the blue line, and it's been causing more pressure on our defense. And it makes it, I mean, so they've got to utilize the interior of the ice. And I don't know how they go about that, but there's got to be some strategies, some drills, something that they can do to utilize that center of the ice more. And again, this is where the forwards come into, and especially the centers. I think the centers are going to have to come down more and really play down deep in order to help out those defensemen.
And that's why Harley has so much more success getting the puck out of his own end of the ice, is that he has his head up. He's looking to make a pass instead of just to make the right play. Because, the right play, like pushing the puck up the boards, is never the wrong play. You're not going to hand a goal to the other team doing that. But Harley breaks out so easily because he has his head up. He can make the pass over to the middle of the ice if he sees that it's open. He's got a player there. Or he can use his feet and skate to the middle of the ice to get away from the forecheck pressure. And that's something that the other Stars defenders who aren't confident with the puck just aren't able to do.
They don't skate.
Right.
They don't skate.
So that's going to be another thing that Pete DeBoer is going to be able to try and help with, is if you show enough film and you see, hey, the Avs are pressuring super hard on the boards, show those guys who aren't confident with the puck, hey, we got to get it to the middle at some point to get it out, because they got 3 guys on the boards and it's not going to get past all of them.
And again, that's just, it's going to have to be something that they figure out on the fly, or again.
Well, that's true of everything for the Stars, because nothing is going good right now, but
they have to flip it. They just have to,
they got to flip the switch.
I want to pull up this comment because this is extremely interesting to me. And Mel, thank you for commenting on this, because this opens up a whole avenue for us to kind of talk about. She says, yes, we are very concerned about your depth. All day on sports talk radio here is debate about whether we can match up, and also about what role Landeskog should try to play. She also had a comment earlier, I believe, and I can't find it right now, but here we go. Here it is. Avs fan here. The whole state of Colorado is nervous about this series, especially our PK. That blows my mind right now, because we are so focused on stars, right? And I mean, we're talking about, and so is the rest of the Stars fan base, about how terrible we feel going into this series against Colorado. Well, at least to some aspect, I don't think they feel as bad as we do right now. Maybe they do, but Colorado their fan base is also feeling very similar to us in a way.
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad. They're not on a 7-game losing streak, but yes.
Yes.
There's 2 sides to every coin.
Yes. I just think it's interesting that, that there are so many teams down the stretch that have been like that.
Oh, no. There has been a breach in the echo chamber. Ryan is gaining sense.
Well, one of the things I do want to focus in on is that we talked about how important our PK is in this series. I mean, the Avs PK is just as important. Whereas the Stars overall are only ranked 16th in power play percentage. They were 5th worst from the start of the season to December, and they're 4th best from January 1st to now. Right.
Calendar year,
they literally split down the even of the season exactly what was going to happen. And it's definitely a dangerous power play where stats are, if you look at the season overall stats, it's going to be very deceiving.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something where the Stars still are a good team. You'll get any statistic, the Stars are top 10 in pretty much all of them. So it's not like the Stars team is bad. They've just been playing bad recently. And like we've been saying over and over, they're going to have to flip the switch to being a good team again.
T Farmer with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, T Farmer.
Thanks, T Farmer.
If this is anything like Vegas, whoever has lost the regular season wins the playoffs. Dallas has this series in hand by that logic.
Easy.
There's a lot.
Easy mode.
There we go, everybody. We have figured out the truth.
That's the preview show. Stars win. Thank you.
There are just so many things. And
that was true of the Stars, too. They beat Edmonton in the series last year, or the season series, and then they lost in the playoffs. So that is consistent.
It's just weird. Just looking at stats and trying to find a narrative to make it work is hilarious.
It's just more proof that the regular season means very little when it comes to the playoffs.
Yep.
Prediction time?
And do what?
Prediction time?
I'm gonna need some. I'm gonna need some time to think. Y'all
You
go
can
first.
go last.
Okay,
I'll go
James. Who wins how many games?
I'm gonna go full homer. I'm gonna say Dallas. I think it's gonna be in 7. I think for the Stars, this honestly could be just a sweep for the Avalanche. But if I want the Stars in my heart of hearts to win, it's gonna take 7 games, and you're gonna need to see Miro come back. And I feel like once Miro comes back, even at like 50%, your decor gets so much better. It's insane how much better your decor gets with just a fraction of Miro Heiskanen back in the lineup. I think it's probably going to be a tough beginning of the series, but if the Stars can hang in there, they'll win it in 7.
I'm gonna go. Well, I guess Chris is frozen for a second. That is a very flattering picture of him.
Hopefully,
Nelly. I'm gonna say this.
You back, Chris?
You're gonna have to repeat.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Cool. Okay. I was gonna say I'm gonna be a negative Nelly. I think the Stars are just playing so bad right now. I find it really hard to see them getting better just all of a sudden. So I'm going to say the Stars are going to lose this one in 5. If it gets past 5, the Stars win, in my opinion. But right now, my prediction, if I had $1,000 on the line, I'd say the Stars lose in 5.
I was hoping that listening to you guys, I'd get some sense and, some logical sense, but nothing makes sense right now.
Yeah, neither will this
for either team. I mean, I think that there's not a likely scenario. Does that make sense? Like
I think there's a likely scenario.
If there was ever a series where both fan bases go into it and both think they're going to lose, it's this one.
Right. I mean, because this is the best first round series. 100%.
Yeah, this is the most hyped one for sure, considering especially the whole Rantanen versus Colorado thing. That's
going to be so fun.
That's going to be
all the storylines in this series are great. It's going to be an awesome series. I mean just from a story perspective.
Yeah, and again with Landeskog coming back, that's going to be a huge thing that people talk about as well.
Sagan's back.
Sagan
Miro's
coming back.
Going to have the will he won't he the whole series. It's going to be fun.
Miro. I don't have a legit prediction.
You have to give one.
Make one up. That's what I did.
To your head. You have to make something up.
I know what I said about if it goes to 6 or 7 that I like the Stars' chances as well. I think that we are going to see a completely different team on Saturday, and I truly believe that. And that maybe that's just my blind faith with this team right now. I'm gonna go Stars in 5.
Where did Optimus Ryan come from? What the
Let's
heck?
go. I like.
He's been the biggest doomer of the past 3 weeks.
I know, but but nothing makes sense, right? So this prediction makes no sense.
Maximum chaos.
That's I mean, like I'm being mostly homerish, obviously, but at the same time, I'm like, I mean, I don't see how anybody can look at this series and be like, from the outside perspective, that there's any likely outcome with this. I truly believe that. So I'm just gonna go with the craziest scenario possible and say the Stars in 5. So I don't know.
Oh,
weird.
What if no Robo? There's no Robo. He's out for the series.
Stars in 4. No.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Okay, I won't make you answer that one.
Yeah, but and I know a lot of people are like, Ryan, you're an idiot. Yeah, that's exactly what I am.
That's what he's going for. He wants the clicks, guys. He wants the clicks.
Hot takes.
This is why I'm a super fan, and this is why I claim to be a super fan and not be like a media expert or anything like that. Because I come up with stuff like this and it just comes off the top of my head. So, okay. We've done, I think, a whole bunch of stuff. We talked about both teams. We talked about our own predictions, whether they be homerish or real or not. is there anything else that we absolutely need to be talking about with this series?
Game 1 starts on Saturday at 7:30.
We got a 7:30 start time in round 1. Let's go.
A normal start time. Let's go, boys.
Don't get used to it. It'll go away.
Yeah, I guarantee it on Monday. We're starting at 9:45.
Wouldn't that be something? I don't know. I still think it's going to start at like 7:47, right?
Oh yeah, it's starting at 7:50.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's listed as 7:30. So
yeah, I don't have a lot of hope, but I have belief, and I know that's crazy, but that's where I'm at with this team, and
I got faith. If I had money on it, I wouldn't put it on them, but I have faith still.
Yep. And despite what we may believe, it's what we're seeing on the ice, we're still hoping and we still believe for a better outcome for the Dallas Stars.
Nate G, $2 super chat. Thank you, Nate. He said he loves the longer shows and he's thanking us because we're awesome. Well, Nate, you're awesome, and I love you.
And personally,
you know, you specifically.
Yes, and I will mention this since Nate did bring it up. It is so, and because we do a show, I've never, hated wanting to do it. I've never wanted to do a show less in the last couple of weeks because of how this team has played. But at the same time, it has been cathartic, and at the same time, lethargic, I guess, in the same way. But it's awesome that we're able to come on here and talk to other Stars fans and maybe try to make some sense out of
and Avs fans, I guess.
Yeah, and Avs fans, true. That's also very true. So
cool.
Okay.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Let's wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for following along with us live. If you have been, there's even more afterwards who are listening. We appreciate it. Hope the Stars get a win in Game 1 on Saturday. That will start at 7:30-ish at the American Airlines Center. I will be in the press box for that, so that will also be different. That'll be fun for me. Go and check out that hype video. Maybe it'll feel a little bit different come Saturday. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. But as always, thank you to our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Thank you to all of you who are listening. Follow us on social media at SarcasticR. We have 2 brand new members of the Who Cares Club as well. I should mention that as well. And Catherine and Leslie, thank you guys so much for being members of the WCC. We appreciate it.
Catherine and Leslie are the best. Certified fact.
Alongside James and alongside Chris, my name is Ryan. We will catch you guys on the flip side. The next time you guys hear from us, it'll be after Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs against the Colorado Avalanche. Thank you guys so much for the support you have shown us all this season, and go Stars.